Hi there, welcome to Floating in Dreams. Today's video is going to be my end of year favorites base product edition. Welcome to everybody watching today. Thank you so very much for joining me. If you are into eyeshadow palettes, Essence and Catrice, and getting the use out of your makeup the way I am, then definitely stay tuned because today we are talking 2020 favorites and 2022 favorites. And this is the base product edition. I will be going over every single category that I could think of, including worst products. So you have a lot coming your way until the end of the year because I will be posting daily videos until New Year's Eve, you could say. And in case you're new here and you don't know what this channel is all about, then it may be good to know that I have fair skin with a cool to neutral undertone, which greatly skews my makeup preferences. And because I have been buying, trying, and reviewing makeup for more than a decade, I have some very strong favorites as well. So if you'd like to join the Snow Angel Club, then definitely click subscribe down below. So yes, today is the first video in my end of year favorites. 2022 is almost over and today we're talking base products. So it's all things primer, concealer, foundation, powder, and setting spray. Now, not all of those categories are represented here because I wasn't trying a lot of powders or primers or concealers this year. So I have mainly foundations here, and then a setting spray and 3 concealer-like products. I definitely think I need to try some more concealers again in 2023. So if you have any good recommendations for concealers, then definitely let me know. In 2022, I just tried more foundations than anything else, so that's why I have those most. So let me get the non-foundation things out of the way first, and the first thing I have for you is the Pretty Fresh setting spray from Colourpop. Now, in Black Friday, I got myself 2 of these as backups because I love this thing so much. It's now one of my favorite setting sprays I've ever tried, so that's why I needed to get more of this. This is lovely. It's got a nice spritzer. It has a scent, but it's not too noticeable, and it just sort of finishes off my makeup in a nice way. I don't think it necessarily does much for the longevity of my makeup. I don't use setting sprays for that. I powder to increase, the wear time of my makeup, but it's a very pleasant experience to use this at the end as a final step to sort of spray everything, rehydrate everything, and just make everything look a little bit nicer and blend it all together. And this was a really good one. It's Colourpop, so depending on where you live, it's also quite affordable. And then there are 3 concealers I wanted to mention. Now, some of these weren't new to me. Some of the products I'm talking about were things I already purchased a year before, but I didn't really get around to trying them or testing them out this year. And the two concealers I tried most are these 2. The Apieu Moist Creamy Concealer is what I've used today. This is a K-Beauty brand. I love their Juicy Pink blushes. I've tried a couple of things from the brand that I love, and this concealer is another one that goes onto the loves list. This is in the shade Porcelain, but I think I should actually go a shade down because this is just a little bit too orange for me sometimes, but I'm not sure if you can see that, but I'm currently working on this in my Shop My Stash to try and use it up before the end of the year. And I think I will manage because I'm already having to double dip before I can actually to get enough product out for a full application. So I'm pretty confident that I can use this up before the end of the year. And that's something that I love doing. I love using up concealers before I move on to anything else. And then the other one that I was trying out this year was the MAC Studio Fix Concealer. This is the 24-hour Smooth Wear Concealer. I have this in NW15. That is a shade name. It's a little lighter than this, so shade-wise this is better. But consistency-wise, I like this better for me in the summer season. So this is just a far more long-lasting concealer formula than this is. This is a very creamy one, very hydrating, perfect for this time of year. But this one is a little bit more heavy duty, I find, and it has a higher coverage level. But that does mean that the consistency of this is a little bit thicker. And I found that as I was using this in a Shop My Stash, trying to use it up over the fall season, my skin got too dry to try it. I have dry, dehydrated skin. I've got fine lines, I'm in my late 30s, so very often I love something that's incredibly hydrating, more so than this. But for the summer and post-summer season, This was perfect. The shade was perfect. I loved how little of this I have to use, which is why I decided in the end to put it back into my makeup collection and roll this in to see if I can at least use up a concealer before the end of the year. Because this is one that, even though it's a bit more expensive because it is MAC, you do get a lot of product out of it because you only need so little. Like literally all you need is a dot rather than like spreading it out with the doe foot. So you don't need a lot of this, and that's another reason why I loved it. And finally, for something super affordable that I'm very excited for that they've launched it's the Catrice Under Eye Brightener. This is not necessarily a concealer, but I can use it that way because this pinky shade is just perfect at canceling out my dark circles. Now, the only shame with this product is that it only comes in one shade, but the experience I had using this when it launched in the springtime was very reminiscent of what people have described the Becca under eye corrector to do. Since Becca is no longer around, and even Smashbox, who's taken over a couple of products from the Becca line, is now being discontinued in certain territories. The Becca product is just incredibly difficult to find. But the Catrice one, I think, is a really good alternative that's now come onto the market. I hope they can extend the shade range. Wow, I can't talk. So that more people can actually use this, because this is going to be too light for some people. But for me, the shade of this was so much better than my Charlotte Tilbury corrector that I'm now considering getting rid of that one because I have this. This is great. I can wear it by itself. I can wear it under concealer. It's really lovely. It's got a great texture. It doesn't accentuate any fine lines or texture. It's really good, but it really is meant to go into the under eye and correct any darkness that you might have because I have naturally dark circles. This works for me perfectly, but it may not be the best for everyone. And then we have foundations left. That's all I've got left. 6 foundation-like products that I want to chat about. You know what? I'm going to keep the more affordable things for last because I know people love affordable recommendations. One thing I tried this year was the Lisa Eldridge foundation. I keep it in its little box on my vanity with the little card inside it. This is great. I bought it in shade 5, but when this launched last year, I wasn't convinced. I got a couple of the sample cards when I ordered a couple of the lipsticks, and the sample cards, I don't know, the texture was not great. Now that I've heard that sometimes sample cards don't offer you the exact product that you get, because in the sample card it's not in the same component as, you know, when you buy a full size, so that can alter the way the product then performs, or so I've been told. So I think that was the case with this. I also found that the sample card I had was for shades 1 through 4, and all of those shades were too light. So it also greatly reminded me of how important it just is to get your shade right. So I ended up being very lucky, and in the summertime, I was able to go into the Lisa Eldridge pop-up store in Covent Garden because I booked myself a trip to London. So I could ask the makeup artist to put it on for me to see what shade I was. Turns out that a lot of the foundations that I love wearing are more around the shade 7 of this line, but shade 5 matches me perfectly in terms of my skin tone. So shade 5 is where it's at. I was using this in a Shop My Stash in October or November, and I loved it. I did have to figure out how to apply it. So I did create a short where I show you how I prefer to apply this, because I feel that with a sponge, it doesn't work for me. And when I first tried the sample cards, I was using it with a sponge rather than with a brush. And I also feel I have to sort of use my fingers first to apply it and then go in with a brush to buff it out. And then it looks beautiful. This foundation works best if you use very light layers. And then we need to go back to the start of the year. I definitely had to scroll through my blog to see what I had reviewed this year, to see what I loved. And I was like, I was very much head over heels in love with this. I'm not sure if this is still around, but this is the Estee Lauder Futurist Hydra Rescue Moisturizing Makeup. I have this in shade Porcelain, and I remember the shade being just a hair too dark for me, but it worked quite well. And it's a very nice, hydrating, very creamy formula. I bought this because I saw a lot of people raving about it in their end of year favorites, I think already in 2020, and then I bought it somewhere in 2021, and I started trying it this year. because I wanted to do a foundation review at the start of the year. And I did another foundation review for you in December, so I've been trying a lot of foundation. But yeah, this is a good one. I really like it. I haven't really gone back to it since reviewing it though, so definitely this winter I need to put it in a Shop My Stash again because I do remember loving it a lot. But one of the reasons why this has sort of fallen by the wayside is because of this, the Beautiful Skin Foundation from Charlotte Tilbury. This is in shade 3 Cool. It's a little bit darker even, I think, than the Estee Lauder, but I feel that formula-wise, this is very similar to the Estee Lauder. They very much, in my brain, do a very similar thing, and I tried this in the springtime when it launched, and I really liked it. I did go into store to try and match myself, and in the end, I wasn't able in this line to find a really good match. So in the end, I settled for something that was slightly deeper, but that had the right undertone for me, rather than something that matched me shade-wise, but that was way too yellow, because below shade 3, there are no other undertones. Everything is like warm, which doesn't work for me. So that's why I went with a slightly deeper shade. I feel this does work for me when I have the rest of my makeup done and I blend it down my neck. I'm okay. I can't wear it now. We're like in the midst of winter and I'm super pale, so I can't get away with this shade right now, but it was great around like the April, May time when I was trying this out, and it worked really well. So maybe this one more so for like January, February, and then this for like the spring season. So these were two lovely products that I got to try this year. Some bougie options as well, but everything else that I've got going on is slightly less expensive. So if you've been with me for a while, then you know that I love rich, creamy, very moisturizing textures, but I don't love anything that is too full coverage. Like the Charlotte Tilbury and the Estee Lauder are like light to medium buildable coverage, but I would not call those like full on coverage for sure. And I personally prefer something that's just a little lighter, and tinted moisturizers have definitely been on my radar for that reason. And the Rare Beauty Tinted Moisturizer, the minute I tried this, I was like, wow, this is exactly what I wanted. This is what I was looking for. And Rare Beauty does some really cool products that you're gonna see in a lot of my favorites. I tried a full face of Rare Beauty earlier this year. I can link that down below in case you're interested, so you can hear the full lowdown. Not all of their products are quite right for me, but a lot, like I think 90% of what I've tried, I love. So Rare Beauty is definitely a brand that I very much enjoy. I have this in the shade 16C, yeah, 16C, and I really like this. This is a great little product and I really enjoy it. And then for the drugstore picks, the instigator of me trying a lot of drugstore foundations this year, and I'm gonna rope that project into next year and then do the review of 10 drugstore foundations for you, was this. This is the NYX Born to Glow. And I hadn't tried anything by NYX or any drugstore foundations for a while. A lot of what I was trying was all high-end luxury brands, because those were the foundation reviews that either people were raving about or that I could get my hands on. And then I spotted this at Douglas and I was like, you know what? I haven't tried NYX in a while. Let's see what they are currently doing. This is the Born to Glow Radiant Foundation in the shade Porcelain as well. Great shade match. And this, like, if the Charlotte Tilbury and Estee Lauder are out of your price range, then I think this is a really, really safe bet if you want that look. So this is, again, a thicker, slightly more creamy formula, I feel. It's super glowy on the skin. It does have some coverage. It's like light to medium buildable coverage like the other two, but it's not super duper sheer. It's not like a skin tint or something like that. This will give you coverage. But I felt the formula of this was excellent, really nice, very easy to blend in. It wore well throughout the day, despite it being glowy. And this is, I think, also one of the glowier options I have for you. You do need to like a bit of glow with this. But I personally loved it. It made my skin look really, really great. And every time I wore this, I was just really happy with the way my makeup looked. And finally, the Hema Skin Tint. Now, I do apologize if you are in any country that doesn't sell this brand. They are a Dutch store. I always compare them a little bit to Target in the US. But Hema is a store here in the Netherlands where they only sell name brand items. All their clothing is Hema branded, all of their makeup is Hema branded, and they started doing the Bay Before Anything Else makeup line a couple of years ago. And I had always been sort of eyeing it up to see if they were doing anything I might be interested in. And one day I was in store to pick up something else, because Hema is one of those stores where you just go if you need to run errands. Like, that's where you go. At least I do. Like, oh, I need a pair of towels. Oh, then I go to Hema. Or, oh, I'm out of this particular thing. And they very often have these very handy things that you just need. And I just saw this, and I think it's like 5 or 6 euros. It's super affordable. And this is the Shake Up Skin Tint in the shade Natural Tan. And this looks really dark in the tube. Like, it looks as dark as the Charlotte Tilbury, but it lightens when it goes on, and it's the perfect shade. It's as good, in my opinion, as the Rare Beauty Tinted Moisturizer. But the reason why I can't recommend this to everyone is because it's just not that widely available. Hema does have stores in the UK, in Belgium, in some parts of Germany, and I even spotted one when I was in Paris. So they have expanded a little bit more in the EU, and like the European market, I should say, because the UK is no longer in the EU. But they are available in some places, but I'm not sure if they do, like, you know, the website or anything like that. But yeah, Hema Skin Tint. I'm really glad I was able to find something locally, and I still, sometime in 2023, want to do a full face of Dutch makeup brands for you, just to have fun with that. So this will definitely make an appearance in that video. And those are all of the products I wanted to show you for my 2022 base makeup favorites. These were all the base products that I tried this year that stood out to me. And definitely stay tuned, because I still have cheeks coming up, eyeshadow palettes of course, and I also will be talking about my worst products that I tried this year. So I hope you're with me for the ride until the end of the year, and then I hope you have a really great time. The end of the year is almost here, and then I hope to see you in my next video, which will be up tomorrow. See you then. Bye bye.